Welcome to my short video on a trip my dog Denali and I took to the Utah Canyonlands. This place has long been one of my favorite regions to explore in the US, and each trip brings me a lifetime of memories. I'll explore some canyons I've overlooked before, and also revisit some old favorites. So kick back, relax, and enjoy some of the epic landscapes of this big playground. After departing Summit County and admiring some of the snowy peaks of Colorado, the western half of the state becomes more rugged with a multitude of canyons along the Colorado River. It's definitely a scenic ride for the majority of the drive, with several tunnels to cross, hikes to go on, and water recreation being readily accessible. When we finally crossed over state lines and into Utah, the first stop I made was the funny named Cisco, Utah. This is a vintage ghost town that's been slowly coming back to life.
This is the old post office. Hey, authorized personnel only. This used to be all wide open, but now they put up some fencing. Apparently people live here now. Nice little basketball hoop. Personally, I haven't been here in like 8 years now, so a lot has changed.
Over the years, I think this place has been gravitating to a more quirky art influence, and it's easy to see why. It's got more of a Route 66 vibe going for it, and personally, I recommend dropping in real quick if you're passing through. The road carries on and eventually meets up with Green River, one of the two major rivers that eventually link together at a confluence in the Canyonlands. This is a little mecca for mountain biking and all things related to off-roading. Our second stop was Fisher Towers. This is an unusual formation outside the town of Moab, mostly used for day hiking and some tech climbing. It's a really dope place, very much exposed to the sun, with these tall towers all surrounding the path through the gulch. Every time I walk through here, it reminds me of being in a big city with how the sandstone towers resemble skyscrapers. Apparently, experienced climbers tackle some of the routes on a couple of the towers, and the main eye-catcher to climb is called Ancient Art. It's really an anomaly of how this corkscrew structure really withstood the test of time, and I've known a few people that have actually made it to the top. I would imagine it's an amazing feeling to be on top of this spire, and some of the photos people took over the years are just purely mind-blowing. We eventually got back on the road and traveled alongside Green River closer to the Canyonlands. It's an exceptional ride for both cars and cyclists and can really take your breath away in some of the more grand sections. There's camping available along the river that I was able to secure for the night, and then made my way into the heart of Moab. It's probably the largest town in southeast Utah, with hotel options, restaurants, and guided tours. The next morning, we went to explore Grandstaff Canyon, a moderate trail very close to our campsite. There's a creek bed that runs through the whole area, and it's a fun and challenging hike overall, especially for Denali. At the end is where we found a long arch that extends out like a bridge and connects two massive boulders. It's popular for guided rappel groups and has that level of scale and aesthetics that's known in the region.
Okay.
Depending on where the road takes you from here, the landscape changes pretty dramatically. There's a few spots with waterfalls, and early May is when some of the snowmelt really begins to take shape. I eventually found my way into the Canyonlands, which is roughly 1,400 kilometers in size, and took this narrow road along steep drop-offs to go further into one of the canyons. I can't fully describe the feeling I felt here, just exploring at my own leisure and seeing the grand scale of the canyon from the rim. Pretty much everyone I met here had the same positive connection to this place, and it only invites you to explore further. So that's what we did. Going down into the canyon can feel a little intimidating and uncomfortable if you've never driven down a narrow dirt road before. I always recommend good passing etiquette, gearing down into first, and just taking your time and enjoying the amazing surroundings. High clearance vehicles are definitely recommended here, as long as there's good tire traction and controlled steering. It's a breeze. The road eventually flattens out near the bottom, so we decided to explore the area on foot near one of the overlooks.
Alright. You ready?
Places like this is why I always keep coming back for more, time after time. It's that feeling of walking through time, listening to the wind on the edge of a canyon, and feeling completely small in the grand scale of the Canyonlands. After having spent the night in the Canyonlands, we then turned west to head to the San Rafael Reef, which stretches over 200 kilometers and has a cut that the interstate completely runs through. It holds probably my favorite slot canyon called Little Wild Horse. Visuals here are insane, and if you're a fan of canyoneering, this is absolutely a must-do. As expected, there are of course very narrow parts inside the slot canyon, so it's something to consider if you're bringing large backpacks or even kids. Besides that, it's an absolute blast. Bring plenty of water on this hike, and as long as you keep a steady pace, it's not as challenging as others make it out to be. There are some sections here that are also pretty mind-bending. This again brings back the sense of scale that the Canyonlands bring. One minute you're exploring a canyon that's similar in height, the next you're dropped into a wide open wash where some of the trail might not be visible at first, but that's just part of the experience. It's why it's one of my all-time favorite slot canyons in southwest Utah.
Here we go, back in it again.
The drives alone are also worth mentioning as some of the most exhilarating. Put on some good tunes, roll the windows down, and enjoy this incredible part of the country. At around sundown, we eventually found another campsite to post up for the night, complete with horses and asses, to finish up our short but memorable trip in Utah. I decided to revisit the southwest corner of Colorado on my return trip back home and visit places like Telluride, the $1 Million Highway, and soak in the hot springs of Erie. For my next video, I want to share one more video from my home state of Colorado during the winter season. Denali will come along once again, and I'm stoked to share some of my local recommendations overall. See you next time.